Hello, it's me again. I'm Nafid Salama. Today, in this short video, I will talk about the installation of an enterprise certificate in your mobility controller. In other videos, I'll explain how to install it on other devices. The concept here is for the client machine to trust the certificate that is on the controller. So basically what it is, we have an enterprise certificate authority that is not by default installed on the client machine. We would like to download the certificate of the CA and place it in the certificate's trusted root inside the machine. So meaning that I'm telling the machine to trust that CA. We will generate a certificate signing request to sign a certificate for the mobility controller. We'll show you two different ways. Now then, the CA, the certificate authority, will generate certificate for the mobility controller. That certificate will be installed for the HTTPS access. Now, once the client tries to connect using HTTPS, they will not get any complaint because the client trusts the CA that has issued this certificate to the mobility controller. Let's have a look. What we would like to do now is to install certificate. Okay, now this certificate is not a public certificate. It is a private CA, a private company certificate authority. For that to work, we need to make sure the client, what you see on the screen, should be able to trust that specific certificate. Now remember, Windows or Linux or Mac OS come with a trusted list of certificates. So for example, I created a shortcut here. But anyway, if you go to certificate trusted root, you'll notice these things come with the operating system. So basically, in the local machine or the current user, you'll find something called trusted certificate authorities. Click on this and you'll find a list of an already installed public CAs. For example, a well-known one is called DigiCert. You'll notice DigiCert has the global root, and these are the certificate authority certificates that are trusted by the clients. So if you have any private certificate authority, that will not by default be trusted by the client. So your job initially is to download the certificate for that private CA and make it trusted by the client. So anything that is signed by that certificate will be trusted by the client. So that's what we're going to do. If you don't know how we've done this, so this is what you can do is basically you go to start menu and we can issue MMC. So MMC, Microsoft Management Console, that start kind of empty. And you snip it, so file, add or remove snap in, yeah, and then you can select which one you would like to go. So we added the trust. You select certificates, you click on add, so you can do, of course, so we're gonna add my user account if you would like. You can add also certificate, add again, and you can add my computer or services, and then you'll be local computer, which is this one, very simple. And you're going to say, and then you can see the trusted root as part of it. So you can see that, what we've done. So basically, as I said to you, these come with a built-in default certificate authorities that are public CAs. So our job is to download the certificate for our local and private CA, make this client trusted. So that's number one. To do this, I would like to go to any of these browsers, open a browser. Now, setting up the CA by itself is beyond the scope of this video. I did explain this on other videos. So we would like to go to that CA and download certificate from that CA. Now I would like to open a browser that is probably either this Edge, or I would like to go for, it's up to you, your browser, but I would like to go to the internet. Probably this Edge will work for us. And I would like to go to this server, and it is a certificate-based server, cert SRV. You can clearly see now. Now this is not really is complaining, and the complaint is about certificate invalid. View certificate. You'll notice this certificate is invalid, certificate error, because they don't trust the one that has issued the certificate, which is the server itself. Now, remember this is not trusted server. Remember, one of the things that I need to just draw your attention to, we are using fully qualified domain name. Fully qualified domain name. Notice that's a fully qualified domain name. I'm going to copy this. And obviously this machine has a DNS. So if I issue the IP config/all, this machine has a DNS, and that DNS server is 10.254.1.21. Now we should have an entry, an A record for that machine, i.e. for this server. Now if we bing that fully qualified domain name, we should be successful. That's number one. So DNS is there, and if I bing it, bing the same server, I should get a return traffic translating into its IP address. So that the whole business of DNS and establishment of that has been already has been established. So now we will accept the or we'll say, okay, go to details here, and we accept the danger or the risk, and we accept that. We will try to log into that server. Now we're going to log in, and then we'll show you the steps to install the CA for that specific CA server. Basically, I can indeed, if you would like to, I can open this one from the Internet Explorer, open with IE. So click on this tab. This is not secure. We will go to there. There's no problem. And we will authenticate. So we see, and you can clearly see, we will use some of these functions later on, as I explain further. Now our first job is to install and download the certificate for this specific CA and make it trusted by the machine. So the error we see here will go away. So we are going to start with the download CA certificate. Which one I would like to download is the CA certificate itself. So now we open the folder. We're gonna save it first, obviously, and then we will open the folder. Now that certificate was downloaded, cert new. We can rename it to make more sense. So we're gonna call it CA. It stands for Certificate Authority. So we can distinguish this from others as well. So now what you do, you double click on the certificate. That will open the certificate, and say, do you want to open this file? You're going to say open. Now you're going to install certificate, that certificate and its details, issued to, issued by, valid from, to, and we're going to say install certificate. And you can do one of these two, but we'll go for the local machine. Now we'll go next. Right, so this is where we place it in the trusted route. We go place all certificates in the following store. You click browse trusted route, and you go next, next, and it says in here the import was successful. So if we go back and double check what is there, you're going to find the certificate has been installed. I'll show you in a sec. So that certificate has been installed here, training-aruba-ad.ca. That is the, if you like, the issued by, and that is the CA. So it is issued by the CA to the CA, right? So now that's the local private CA certificate is being placed in a trusted route for certificates, meaning anything that this will sign, i.e. generate certificate for, will be trusted by the operating system browser. Just to remind you, when you install in the local computer or local machine, that will automatically also install certificate in the current user. So you're going to see certificates listed here, and it is installed automatically. Yeah. Now we're going to verify. So let's just close this browser. I'd like to copy the address, make it easy for us to do it again, to paste it again. Trust this, close all of that. Then bring the browser again. We will log in. This certificate is trusted and it is valid. So certificate, we can view it, and the certificate is valid. The reason, we trust now this guy. So now this is the CA interface, i.e. the one that we're going to use for certificate sign request and so on. One of the tools that we can use to generate a certificate sign request CSR is OpenSSL. So we can go OpenSSL. This program was installed and configured. So you can go to OpenSSL. Now, you can make it non-interactive, meaning if you create an answer file or conf file, like in this case, we created a conf file where they have the fields that are required for the certificate signing request. Now, we would like to generate and read that config file, if you like, and then based on that, we will generate a certificate signing request, which we will later submit it to the certificate authority. Let's have a look. So I said OpenSSL, you can issue whatever commands in one line, but I chose to go inside the context of OpenSSL. So what we're going to do, we're going to request. So REQ, that's some of these commands. The passphrase, we're going to assign the output will be the key and the certificate signing request. So now the file with the certificate signing request has been generated. You can open this with a notepad. So this is the request. We will select all and we will copy all. Now we will need to submit this certificate signing request into the CA itself. So we'll go to the CA on the web interface and submit that request. Request a certificate, click on this. We go to advanced certificate request and we will paste the text here. So we're going to paste it here. Now the usage, it depends what you'd like to use it for. In our case, we would like to use it for a network device. So click on here, and because that's going to be used for a mobility controller, we're going to submit that. Now the encoding that you would like is, in this case, base 64. And we are going to download certificate here. We're going to save it. And we'll open a folder. You're going to find the certificate is here. We would like to rename this one to make sense to us. MC stands for Mobility Controller. So we will have now the Mobility Controller certificate. So now you can open the certificate if you would like. And you can see details of that certificate. So the issuer was our CA, valid from, valid to. These are details we have entered. The subject is the common name for this, MC05, that's the name, or the DNS name for that specific device. And the rest of the certificate details are there, basically, and that's what the certificate looks like. Now we need to create the BFX file. PFX file is a file that contains a certificate and that's its private key. So we created a certificate and we did create a private key as well, if you remember. We did download the certificate and we're going to copy the certificate into the same location to make life easier for us. So we're going to copy this and we're going to paste it here. Do you remember that we have created the key, private key here, and we will use the tool again to generate a BPFX file. So we're going to use the OpenSSL to create the Now BFX has been created, and this bundle is going to be used, and we will install this on the mobility controller. We're going to show you next. So now we went to the controller, we logged in, we go to configuration, system, certificates. We will add a new certificate. I would like to call it root CA. I'm going to browse for this. I'm going to import this certificate. The format of the certificate is going to be PIM, and the certificate type trusted CA. Okay, so that has been imported here. I will accept this. Now we need to install the controller based certificate, the one we created, the mobility controller now. So we're going to go and do the same or something similar to this. And we will import the PFX certificate, which is the certificate with the key bundle. We'll import this PFX, and we're going to use the same key we used, and the type is going to be PFX, and it is server certificate, and there we go. We apply the changes, and there we go. Now what do we need? We need to use the certificate. So we need to go to the admin, and we scroll down to the web authentication section. So here we are using, or this using default certificate that comes built in with the mobility controller. We're going to change it to the one we have used, we have added. So simply, and we're going to just submit this, apply the changes. We have the mobility control certificate that is signed by a trusted CA that's trusted by this client. And then we have installed the mobility control certificate that was generated by that trusted CA, and as you can see, it is working. In the same time, what we can do, we can generate the certificate signing request from the actual, so it's called online from the controller. And of course, you defined what's the key link. This go for 2048. The common name, I would like to make it the fully qualified domain name. So that's the DNS name for the mobility controller. And we will add the details for province and city and country and so on. So we filled out all details, and we're going to generate a new one. View. That's what we have generated right now. We're going to copy the whole lot. And we will go to the CA and submit this one. We're going to generate the CA for that specific one. I'm going to show you the two methods, the OpenSSL that is offline, and the online one on the GUI interface of the controller. So now we are at the CA, and we will request certificate. Advance, we will select the type or the template is network device. I'm going to submit this. We will again download certificate, and we will download this one. I would like to save it. Open folder. I would like to call this one online MC. So to indicate this is an online MC has been generated. Now we're going to use this one instead of the other one on the mobility controller to show you that the mobility controller is able to use the certificate, and that will be trusted. So we're going to go back to mobility controller, and we're going to import that certificate, this from the previous one, and we're going to go to download I'm going to use this, and we're going to use the key. Right, and we'll go accept. Now I would like now to use the online one, so we go to admin, and we're going to go for authentication options. We scroll down, we're going to replace this one with the online one, the one we just installed now. So now the mobility controller is using different certificate, but this is the one that we have generated. So we went back and we connected and to this mobility controller. You can see certificate is a valid one, and we can view it if you would like. These are details we have just entered ourselves. Notice the validity is valid to 2025. And this is the one we generated today. And we'll double check that now. We're going to go configuration, back again into the system, into the admin. We're going to use that. We look at this. Admin is using that one that we have generated. So there are three now, the default one and the one that was generated by offline OpenSSL, and the one we generated now. In this video, I showed you how to generate a certificate signing request using two different methods, offline method and the online. Offline using the OpenSSL and the online using the web GUI interface of the mobility controller. And we showed you also how to install the certificate for the certificate authority on the trusted root, and that has resulted into the machine trust the certificate issued to the mobility controller, and when the web admin connect to the controller, there will be a trust and the lock will show that certificate is valid. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in future videos.